Welcome back, everyone. The shit channel for you. I'm back again, and I have been busy with few things, and yeah, as you know, I have sent some clips with Dr. Livesey for some reason, and yeah, that kind of cartoon were a favorite, even if I couldn't the language itself. But it was an awesome uh, cartoon anyway from Russia, as I know. Well, I love it. I love Dr. Livesey. And I love this kind of cartoon who were in the past. Whether the character or the the genders or whatever, each and any one was unique in this case. Now, don't get me wrong. When I say all this kind of cartoon, I mean this kind of how shall I say, this kind of sketch, this kind of looks and all of it, kind of the style of it. It was before the animation ever came, if I may say it. I mean, today you have a lot of people who literally embrace anime. Everything should be anime, kind of. But in my case, cartoon is the one for me. Even in the new one, I mean, for example, it doesn't matter if this is just cartoon, it doesn't matter if this is 3D, it doesn't matter if this is 2D or whatsoever. But okay, that's not important because this is just my fantasy because I like it. However, what I want to talk about today is about a pastor who once were a pastor early. Now, I don't remember exactly this pastor as I'm going to talk about is two of them in this case, and they are separated. One of them calls themselves Stuart Allan Clark, and the other one, Dog Wilson. Now, you maybe doesn't know who Stuart Allan Clark is. Well, some people might call him just a pastor, while others would see him as a mega pastor. I don't know if he have anything with patrioticity to do, but for some reason he does. But in his mindset is a lot of misogyny, meaning, for example, how a woman should be dressed, how should a woman look into a man, and how a woman, well, pretty many things as he have this kind of idea and all this kind of sexistic thing, kind of. It's more like you should look like a model 24/7. For me, it sounds more like back in the 60s when men were actually so frustrated over that women should actually look like a pinup without to ever think that not everybody have to look like a pinup. So how is it possible that men can look like anyone as they want, while women have to dress up and even never get chubby or muscular or whatsoever? Everybody should be slim, kind of. And the typical thing I recognize when he literally said that everybody should look like Melania Trump. Fine, she's a good looking, but that doesn't mean that just because she's slim, she's a good looking person. No. Everybody are good looking, whether what kind of weight each and anyone are. And when it comes to the clothes, it doesn't matter. None of us want to be materialistic at all. But in that mindset that we're living today, that's not how the world are built up now. I mean, there is a lot of materialism as men, women, no matter what. But force someone to dress up for their husband? That's ridiculous. Well, okay, before we go to the video, I want to mention something. I have an aunt who actually are diabetical and have a problem with her sickness and infection she have, and fighting as normal as always. She's indebted and keep working even though her health may be upside down, but she keep continue fighting. I would never do this kind of shit, but I felt like I need to. Even I myself tried to find a second job so I could maybe help her, of course, so she will be get rid of this kind of payments. But now it is not possible since she have at least helped our relative who had a problem in the past when it comes to the pandemic. But she wasn't alone because each and any one of our family were working hard to pay everything for each and any one. However, she lost one of her job and had only one of them left. So that was the time when she had to reconsidering. So she took care of her own payment, of course. Now she's on IRS and anything turned into bad things. Half of her payments go to the IRS, while the other half is the one she's going to live with. And yeah, she's from Sweden. However, I ain't going to say where I am exactly from, but yeah. I used to be a little more everywhere, except not every time. It's not all the time I am everywhere, but I can say this. In the country I am in, I working every day. Every day, Monday to Friday. Then Saturday and Sunday I am always home by helping my family and so on. Support my own mother, of course. Be there for her. Take care of the source at home. Clean up everything. The household. Washing clothes. So on. But taking care of my own as well. And I do it independent. Not like all of those others, like one of my brothers and my stepdad. Well, okay, however, as I said, she's important. For me, anyway. And one more thing, as I want to also mention, if you like the video, please give me a thumb up or thumb down if you don't like it. And for you who maybe want to continue hear it, subscribe to my channel if you want. And one more thing. I forget about that. It was only those three. Anyway, let us go back to the video.
Your man needs an attractive wife. Why is it so many times that women, after they get married, let themselves go? A hockey player said, he said, I married a trophy wife, but now she looks like the Stanley Cup. You see what I'm talking about? That's what I'm talking about. All right? That's what I'm talking about.
Look at his joke. And what this turns to it is laughable. Well, not in my case, because I don't laugh. But you heard the crowd laughing, of course. Now, I ain't sure when it comes to women there, if they laugh with him or laugh or didn't. But you could hear few males laugh with him anyway. And none of them had any idea how painful it is to ever hear that kind of shit. I mean, wouldn't you be disappointed to just hear a lot of shit out there? I mean, what the hell? Anyway, we continue.
I'm not saying every woman can be the epic trophy wife of all time, like Melania Trump. I'm not saying that at all. Now, most women can't be trophy wives, but you know, like her, maybe a participation trophy.
Look at this. The way he framed it, how a woman should look like, and he broke up Melania Trump as an example. Eventually, I know that he maybe, I don't say he does praise Trump or Melania, but for some reason he does when it comes to Melania, of course. When it comes to Trump, I don't have any idea yet. But all I know is that that's kind of figure as he wants. He wants a small pin-up woman in his side. The way he preaching, but nothing in the Bible saying exactly. But as you know, there is a lot of verse, so I should never say it doesn't do it. Of course it does, because there were few others verse as well in the past, but it was never written by Jesus, of course, the way people frame it. But I, on the other hand, who know exactly that Jesus would never have any concern about how a woman should look like, but the way people were framing it was whatever few people were thinking. I mean, you're only thinking about the gospel version. What about those others like the Nazis version and all of the rest? The problem is, when it comes to the church, they burn every book who doesn't fit in their ideology. And that's the biggest problem in every world when they frame how a woman should look like. The way they lie. I mean, I don't say it should considering be a political, well, it was a political power once for a while, of course. But I think it was broken then, the time when many women had enough with all those men who control them every day 24/7, housewives who are working 24/7 at home, always have a pissed off husbands who never cared about them except for themselves. Isn't that too much for sometimes? Perhaps that's also the reason to why our all of our mothers who were taught with us with logic and reason by telling us that we should be friendly to each other, whether we are females or males. It was a new strategy for equality in this case, and the way the mothers were telling us how we boys should actually behave because they have already seen the red flag when it comes to the elderly men in the past, meaning the earlier adults who have no reason to think because that was the thing. They were the kings. They were the one who decided whatsoever. And if they wasn't happy, they were allowed to complain. But again, is it right to allow them to complain? Shouldn't that be a place that everybody could try to talk with each other? But perhaps not in Clark's mind. I mean, Stuart. But again, why in the world should we have this kind of concept that women should look perfect in every man's mind? Isn't that a bigot? What kind of fool just saying, oh yeah, you should go down and look amazing in front of your husband? That's a joke. I mean, every woman are still gorgeous, beautiful, whether what kind of body type they are. They should never be framed of any men just because someone were thinking, overthinking. But this is kind of manipulation. Why do you think that every woman today and even in the past, when we were just little girls who literally think that you should look like a princess every day? And the happy thing in my case was when many women were rebelling against it because they saw the narrative of this kind of case, who actually were dangerous for each and any of us. Because if we still think that women should never be otherwise than a figure or an object or a housewife or that kind of, well, don't get me wrong, but in this past, many of them became scary cats even if they were brave, meaning even if they was, many of them were bold, they still considering if they could actually face the fear for themselves. Some of them managed to managed to fight the fear inside themselves. They became brave, of course. But that's the point. Fear is the way you can build the bravery from yourself and become bold. But that's the thing. When it comes to men, that's a kind of a wicked thing in this case. They don't know the concept of bravery. Not in the past, but we in the future know exactly what it means. You use your fear. The fear is the one who builds you to become brave. But the fear should never lash out because you can still learn with the fear. Exactly what many women have used it. And today we have a lot of military women who actually are in the academy every day, who also talking about fear. And that's the part of it. But okay, back to this idea that Stuart just telling how women should look like. That's a stupid thing. A stupid thing.
I don't know, but all I can say is not everybody looks like that. Amen.
Not everybody have to look like that, pal. No way.
Not everybody looks like that. But you don't need to look like a butch either. A sweatpants don't cut it all the time, huh? Wearing flip-flops and pajamas to Walmart, that ain't gonna work. Ain't nothing attractive about that.
How do you know that, Stuart? I mean, for rest of us, for few of us, we could think it is beautiful, we could think it is attractive. Whether you are chubby, normal, muscular, or what kind of thing, we love it. For us who embrace it, but we are not in charge of those people who have their own bodies. Every woman should have control. I mean, no one should ever have control over their body but themselves. We shall never shame their body. Instead, embrace their bodies. And in the same time, they are the only one who can do it too. It's not your body, it's her own body. And that's why I want to learn each and any man to think it's not your body, it's her own body. She's control over her own body, her own decision, her own life. She should never take opinion from others as a really important thing, because everybody just talks shit. They have no idea. And for you women, I am saying that don't take any orders from men how you should look like, even also not from other women who literally embrace materialism. I mean, you decide if you want to be a materialist or not. But it's up to you how you want to look like. And as normal as I saying, whether you are chubby, muscular, or normal, small, overweight, you're still beautiful. You're still attractive. There's nothing wrong with you. The only thing you need to find is a man with heart. And even when it comes to friends with hearts, not friends with kind of opinion who literally can shatter you, shatter your heart, everything. That's just bigots. That's just bullies who have no idea how the society is, who literally framing that you can still control it, but you can't. We're living in a society who are stressful, full of opinions, and yeah, again, people ain't nice today. And they have never been nice for all those 100 years have been gone. I thought those in the past were the nicest people in the world, but I was wrong. They were the meanest in the past. They were. They were nothing nice except for those who maybe lived in the local world, perhaps, but not in the cities. And the way Stuart having his fantasy, I don't know. It's more like he objective the person itself, how the person should look like. But it should never be like that. I think it calls misogyny. It's a toxic masculinity fantasy. But the way he described, it could also be connected with MGTOW and red pill, even if it's not necessary, because he literally going through what he literally take from the Bible, who were actually written by a fool who literally want to control every woman. Perhaps that person who didn't tolerate a no or ever took something like no means no. I would say that kind of guy is a dangerous guy. But Stuart Clark ain't a dangerous guy, but only a fool who literally saying a lot of things who actually are not the truth. Now don't get me wrong. I don't believe in Bible as much I don't believe in other religion as well. Not when it comes to someone who literally favor one gender and dismiss the other one. Meaning you can't have a religion who just favor one gender. In order for a religion to work, it have to support everyone as equal. Favor everyone, not only one. Anyway, back to the video.
About that. It ain't. And when men want their wives to look good at home and in public. Can I get an amen?
I give you a hell no, pal.
Don't let yourself go. It's important that your man has a good-looking woman on his arm. But you say, how can I do that? Oh, I'm so glad you asked that question. All right, if you were sitting in my office, here's the first thing I'd say to you. And boy, I hate to say that. This is why I don't do marital counseling anymore. And that is weight control.
Seriously? Weight control? Is that what you're aiming on? Are you a fool or something? Perhaps you should look at yourself. Why should you be the proud one? Why the woman should be the one who should be embarrassing about her weight? In this case, I would frame to you, get up, fatty. You should look good. You should be a handsome man. To each and any woman out there, how she looks. And let's see, how long can you handle yourself? If anyone would frame you, you would be hurt as well. I mean, you have those material women who literally also framing men by saying, you're too fat, fatty. I don't want to have a fat man. I want to have a handsome man with 6 packs in their stomach. Kind of. I mean, Stuart is a fool. The way he preaching, the way he's saying. What kind of man would ever do that in this case? Except that there's a lot of men who are fools, who have no idea that women are also human, not objects. It's more like someone who desire how women should look like a movie I remember from the past. I don't remember the name of it, but you maybe remember about a woman who once embracing the feminism and women's choice from the past, and her husband was just a follower who just loved her for what she was. But for some times he was so tired of whatsoever. So he just followed. They moved out from the town and they came to a town that were only controlled by men, and there were females who were just obedient housewife who did nothing than staying home and do all those girly things, whatever were allowed in the Bible whatsoever. Everything was in the 60s. There were no other kind of people out there except for men. And I ain't going to say what exactly because I am not concerned when it comes to the race. But what I am concerned about is how men behave. However, that movie, on other hands, ended up that she, on other hands, were the only one who questioned it. But two of her friends, from other hands, who moved there to the town either too, they couldn't control themselves. They didn't. They were stuck in this shit so long they can remember. And all of those guys there were maybe going in college or whatsoever, or were former college, who actually were elderly men now. I don't know, around 40s perhaps. And one of them were a head chief himself, who literally talked about that men should have the superiority and so on, but it wasn't. But the funny fact was that when the husband started to admit that he was upset with all of this kind of thing, that he wanted to have control for once, but wasn't because he was sort of a loser in his wife's mind, as he was thinking. But in this case, as she maybe saw, was otherwise. In this case, after she was looking out what's going on in the set. But the husband was changing later and understood that we can't control women. So in this case, he wanted to make a peace thing. So when they discovered the lab inside, that all of those men were controlling their wife, some kind of ship, a moderated ship, who just had this mindset to control their wives, then it make the sense. None of the women wanted to do it willingly, because those men who literally claimed that they were masculine enough, turns out they were just dorks or nerds or whatever, who have no idea that whatever they did was still wrong. You can't control your wife. You have to have an equal terms with your wife. It shouldn't be one gender decide and the other one just obedient. That's not how the life should be. The life should be that both genders decide together, become an equal standard. Of course, the only thing could be a complaint, but we all should actually reason with each other. And if the wife maybe get angry, then it's better to talk with the wife and try to understand the way she maybe complain. Yeah, but here's the thing. The older we become, of course women will always have their feelings, while we men maybe ignore our own feelings, because the way we have been taught in the past is to ignore the feelings. Perhaps that's the normal danger in ourselves. And that's the reason to why this toxic masculinity exists also. So that's why we also need to reason ourselves as well. So we should actually thanking those people who have found out that. And I guess that the feminists were the one who first discovered this kind of behavior first. Then the scientists. Then the rest of the citizens. But not all citizens agree with each other. We still argue what is toxic and not toxic. That's kind of shit. But anyway, after that, the woman were finding the lab. She found the head chief who came down there. There were a fight. And of course, she defended herself as well. And all of them were turning off the machines and so on. The women start to wake up. And then I think the woman had, was it a golf stick? I don't remember. She was hitting his head and discovered that kind of guy were just a robot. So the wife to that robot, who were the head chief, were just telling her opinion that she wanted to live in the 60s there everything was seems to perfect in her mind. But not everybody could live up to that. That was a mistake. But still she thought it was that kind of thing she wanted to live up to. So I guess she was still trapped in this mind. The 60s were forever the men were the ruler and women just subservient. I mean, that's kind of mind. But anyway, that woman who were freeing all the women out there, each and every one started to to confront their husbands and wife. Of course, one person were a gay person, of course, who also were likely controlling the ship. So after that, they were reporting in the CNN news, as I remember, and all of this with one of the famous reporter there. I don't remember his name, but he was one of my favorite, of course, and I was impressed. And she was also talking about all of this kind of thing about equality and anything, as she want, at least have to. Yeah, it ended up really good, and I like it. Anyway, that's exactly what I want to tell. You shall never obey a person who literally saying a lot by saying that you should look good in for your husband. What kind of shit is this? You don't have to look good for your husband. You have to look good for yourself, whatever fit you. And if your husband can't take it, then just point at him. Just say fuck you to him. Because he doesn't own your body. You are the boss of your own body. That's the thing I want to say. And each and any man who just thinking, we own their bodies. We are the master and the woman is the puppet. No, that's wrong. You should never trust the Bible when it's just favor one gender and object the other gender as it was like a toy. No, it should never be like that. Never. Alright, back to the video. Oh, I forgot. When it comes to weight control, it doesn't matter what kind of weight you have. Be proud of what kind of weight you have. It's your body, no one else. You shall never take an opinion from a man. Never. You make your own decision. No one else have to do that. And all of those MGTOW, uh, red pill, or those the evangelists, whatever they call, who literally preaching fake news and all of this kind of shit, as they believe it's the truth, but it's not. They are the liars. So don't believe what they say. Just deny everything they say. That's all I want to say. Anyway, back to the videos.
But you say, my man looks like the Michelin man. He doesn't talk about. Listen here, we're talking about how men are. We're talking about how men are. I understand, but men are the most visually stimulated creation on the earth. And God made them to look. Don't ever forget this. God made them to look. And you want them to look at you, not some hottie out there or somebody on a computer screen.
Look at again. Here's Stuart again and saying about that. Fine. We talked about early that when I said that men who literally look different, no matter if they are muscular, overweight, chubby, supersize, normal, slim, whatsoever. It doesn't matter what kind of body type they have. But again, why keep talking about that? Isn't that against whatever he's saying as he believe? No. The way he see it is how they framed even in the past. I don't know if he really is reading the Bible exactly, but there is a verse who actually are very sexist as well. I mean, for God's sake, if he is so against overweight women, what the hell? Oh yeah, he talking about God made us this, God made us that. It's more like taking whatsoever, whether you are a man, but you should have just a slim woman, good looking woman to watch, kind of. For God's sake, all women, no matter what kind of size each and anyone are gorgeous. Why humiliate that? Oh yes, we will learn in the 60s about how women should look like. They had no intention for other women as well. What kind of shit was that? A fool who just keep talking and talking and talking and have no idea how everybody feels. It doesn't put in his mind at all. All he have in his mind is that how women should look like. I mean, isn't that annoying that this kind of man exists? Huh? If I would maybe say something against him, well, perhaps I should be a bad guy myself. I can say my words itself, but I don't do it. I can tell you this. I am a chubby guy with muscles. A chubby guy with muscles. I have a milk stomach and I love to drink milk. And of course, I eating, well, like a horse, if I may say it. I, on the other hand, have always fallen in love with all of women who have come across me, of course, but I haven't told them, at least. But I have holding hands in many, well, with many girls, of course. For those I admire, of course. And I remember my first kiss, as I couldn't uh, remove from my head. I mean, she was in the same size I was. We both were chubbies. But God, she was a really goddess in my mind. Yeah. Even her own lipstick was so beautiful. Her face was like a flower in my case, as I remember my first crush. Yes. No, she wasn't my first crush. She was my fourth crush. That was the thing. I have a lot of crushes, even if I didn't admit that I was in love with them. But that's the thing, I never talk about that. Anyway, whatever Stuart Clark was saying, how about this for the shortest? Stuart, you are.
You know, you're much uglier in person.
Thank you, Killer Bean. Yeah, that's what I would frame. That you, Stuart, when you literally would actually keep humiliating women, I would say you're much more uglier in a person. That's what I would say. A person who never use logic and reason and instead use power and superiority when it comes to the genders. It's not up to women to look good for us. It's up to us to change our hearts and our behavior. That's much more important. What you're spreading now is misogyny. That's what you do. There have been people, anyway, who have actually been mad at Stuart in Facebook and all of the social media, who literally also criticize his way. But they have been difficult for all women too, who literally have facing all this shit for a long time. But those who were there have even been silenced as well. Not all of them, but many of them, of course. But those in social media, on the other hand, the way we actually prescribe, we were actually telling the daughters to not take up whatever those idiots be saying. Be yourself, that's enough. And when it comes to the boys and men, well, of course, just telling the daddies to never take up everything, whatever this false claim comes from. And I, as a person myself, also saying, don't support sexism. Don't support one thing who literally supporting one gender and dismiss the other one. That's not a Bible. But of course, it is a Bible, but it shall never be the Bible at all. You can still rewrote it. You can remake Bible who support everyone equal. And just because the Bible is old doesn't mean that anyone that doesn't mean it is holy. No, it could be false as well. It had been rewritten so many times in the past, even in the king's times, meaning it had been changing so many times. Even when it comes to the LGBTQ movement. It was the first time the Bible ever have mentioned that time the time it was rewritten again about homosexuality. I mean, again, we don't have to see in the past because those morons have always jumping on conclusion without to understand the concept of understand the humanity inside the person itself, will it say. And yet you come with that proud thing, as we were saying, one of the hands, how you should actually looks like for each and anyone. Men should be masculine, women should be girly, kind of. But here's the thing, how do you describe girly? Apparently, it had been in the past that every man wanted to have a submissive women. They couldn't tolerate women who was strong enough to say no. Women who were in same size as men in the past. And yeah, didn't I tell you early that I believe that both men and women were equal before, and it was before they have this kind of belief system when the ideology were created. Again, and when it comes to the scientists in the 60s who literally claiming that men were the hunters and women were housewives left in a cave, that's false. False. Yeah, it's false. I don't have any proof now, but if I can dig more and get evidence, perhaps I can. And P.S. I believe that intersex gender existed even in the evolution as well. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not an atheist. I'm agnostic. But I don't support the Bible. I don't support any belief system. And no, before you're saying that I am a Christian, here's the thing. No one knows exactly what religion I belong to. My case, on the other hand, is that I want to bring justice to everyone. And it's up to each and any of you. This is just my hobby to do. But you can consider it as you want for yourself. That's the only thing I can say. It's up to you, not to me. Anyway, back to the video.
A food that diminishes a woman's sex drive. It's called wedding cake. Yeah. But here's the deal. After you get married, the Bible says, oh, this is, men, put this on your headboard at the house, okay? In your bedroom. Put it on there. Here's it. 1 Corinthians 7:4. The wife has no longer all rights over her body. Woo! But she shares them with her husband. There's a double. Woo! Woo! So whenever she's not in the mood, dig out your Bible.
Pick up the Bible when she's not in the mood. And what is about this sex drive about eating cakes? What the fuck, man? What the hell? What's wrong with you? You're literally giving wrong message to each and any man without the thinking over what you just said. This is not equality. And this misogyny you spreading is just shit. It's just some fucking manipulative propaganda as you're spreading. I say, if we were in the football field, I would crush you in the road and jump on you, even if the referee would actually strike me out from the football field. I would love to crush you immediately. The thing is, okay, I'm shabby, while you are shabbier, or better. I'm a shabby guy, and I'm very happy. I don't know if you're happy with yourself, which seems that you are, maybe. But I say I would love to crush you the way you humiliate every woman about their weight controls. In this case, we would force ourselves in weight controls as well if you're actually slamming women like that. And you should never do that. P.S. Why would Bible ever support us if God really see us as a parasite? Now I ain't saying it should be like that. You don't know what God may be thinking. Perhaps He's thinking we human are annoying. We are maybe just parasites, or maybe God doesn't want to hear any word from us because we are too much. And Mother Gaia, who have held us so long, she's the only one who actually have supported us in many times, even if no one wants to admit that. True, God has supported many people as well, as I believe. But in the same time, it is too much when it comes to violence in the society and all this killing and so on. People think that they do God a favor. I don't believe so. It's maybe hard to God to contain when it comes to all of this. All of this nonsense we're spreading out in the world. For what? Superiority? National superiority? And now we're spreading gender superiority? What the fuck? No, none of us are superior. If we ever going to be superior, then we have to work with each other, be as one, not being objective or some kind of figure for what? Never. It should never be like that. Clark, you are a son of a male bitch. A fucking male bitch who literally cannot shut up when it comes to women who are overweight. You're a son of a daddy fucker who literally have no words when it comes to women. You have no right to say what women should look like. You should never objective a woman. It's enough that we have a lot of damage in the world, and even all of those YouTubers out there who literally fooling around by saying how women should look like, all those red pill fuckers. And when it comes to those others who literally denying women who could actually be more equal, strong or stronger, they are the fools. They have no idea how a woman's body works. The thing is, it doesn't matter if we are man or woman. The thing is, we are creatures. If any animal can treat each other with dignity and respect to each other, why shouldn't we? That's the thing. Now, I ain't saying it should be controllable. Well, look at the ants. They maybe worship a queen out there, but when it comes to each other, they treat each other with equality. And the queen itself has taken care of her children as well. She treating them with equality as well. She never dismiss when it comes to them. Never. She have always seen them as an equal because each and any of them have an old mother who care about them as well. So, for all you guys, stop mocking women for whatsoever any of those morons out there saying. They're just fools. They have no idea what they are saying. Anyway, that's all I have to say. I'm sorry if I can't making I didn't expect to be a part of whatsoever, but this is just the part one. Part two, on the hands, I will do it maybe today or tomorrow, which I don't know, but I do my best, of course, so I can actually take up with that and so on. Anyway, thank you for your time, everybody. And as I said, if you like the video, push the like button. If you doesn't like this video, push the down button. And subscribe to my channel if you want, so on. And P.S. I have an out who literally need help and need support. And yeah, I try to do my best, of course, to get my second job so I could actually help her. In this case, if I would have the second job, I wouldn't care. I would take care of it myself. But since I know that I have only one job and still living with my own mother, there's nothing I can do. Because I have to support the family as well as I'm living here as a janitor. So yeah. But with my own apartment, of course, I would actually support her as much I can too. Which I do now, but that's not enough. I need 2 jobs in order to do that, of course. But anyway, as I said, subscribe, click on the like or dislike. It's up to you. Have a nice day. Take it easy.